The US-China trade war has entered a new, and perhaps even more volatile chapter, with both nations digging in their heels and showing no signs of backing down. On April 9, 2025, at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time, the Trump administration imposed a sweeping 104% tariff on a vast array of Chinese goods, marking one of the most aggressive moves in the ongoing trade conflict. This dramatic escalation comes on the heels of China's refusal to lift its own retaliatory tariffs of 34%, levied in response to earlier U.S. actions, further straining the already tense economic relations between the two superpowers. The new tariffs represent a significant increase from the previous 50% duty, and will undoubtedly impact businesses and consumers on both sides of the Pacific, potentially leading to higher prices and disrupted supply chains. These tariffs are not solely focused on high-value goods, but also encompass a wide range of everyday products, affecting various sectors of the economy. In a move seemingly targeting the growing popularity of Chinese e-commerce platforms like Shein and Temu, the administration also tripled tariffs on low-value packages, aiming to curb the influx of cheap goods into the U.S. market. This measure will see import taxes on these goods rise to 90% of their value or $75, whichever is greater, significantly increasing the cost for consumers. After June 1st, this minimum tariff will further increase to $150, adding another layer of financial burden on importers and consumers alike. This escalation in the trade war signifies the Trump administration's commitment to reshaping the U.S.-China trade relationship, with a focus on reducing the trade deficit and promoting domestic industries. It also highlights the challenges faced by businesses operating within this climate of uncertainty as they navigate the complexities of new tariffs and shifting trade policies. The effectiveness of these tariffs in achieving their stated goals remains a subject of intense debate among economists and policymakers, with opinions divided on their long-term impact. Furthermore, the administration announced plans to impose significant tariffs on pharmaceutical products, a move that could have far-reaching implications for the healthcare sector. This measure aims to incentivize domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing and reduce the United States' reliance on foreign suppliers, particularly China, in an effort to bolster national security and self-sufficiency. However, the potential impact on drug prices and accessibility for American consumers remains a key concern, as higher tariffs could lead to increased costs for essential medications. China has responded to the U.S. tariff hikes with defiance, signaling a strong and unwavering stance in the face of economic pressure. Beijing swiftly confirmed its commitment to maintaining its existing 34% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods, emphasizing its readiness to protect its economic interests. A spokesperson for the Chinese Commerce Ministry labeled the new tariffs a mistake upon a mistake, and warned of further countermeasures, indicating a strategic approach to the escalating trade tensions. This firm stance suggests that China is prepared for a protracted trade war and will not succumb to pressure from Washington, showcasing its resilience and long-term planning. While specific details remain unclear, China has a range of options at its disposal to retaliate against the U.S. actions. These potential countermeasures include increased tariffs on a variety of goods, which could significantly impact U.S. exports. China could target U.S. agricultural products, a sector already feeling the strain of the ongoing trade dispute, potentially causing further economic hardship for American farmers. Import bans on U.S. poultry or other food products could be implemented, disrupting the supply chain and affecting food prices. China might choose to halt collaboration with the U.S. on issues like fentanyl trafficking, which could have broader implications for public health and safety. Restrictions on U.S. companies seeking to operate in China's service sector are possible, potentially limiting their market access and profitability. The screening of U.S. films in China could be limited, affecting Hollywood's revenue and cultural exchange between the two nations. China could launch investigations into the intellectual property practices of U.S. companies operating within its borders, potentially leading to legal challenges and financial penalties. These potential countermeasures highlight the wide-ranging impact of the trade war, affecting various industries and economic sectors globally. It is not just an economic battle but also a geopolitical struggle with implications for various sectors, influencing international relations and alliances. The escalating tensions underscore the need for a negotiated solution to prevent further damage to the global economy, highlighting the importance of diplomacy and dialogue. This strong rhetoric and the outlined potential countermeasures indicate that China is prepared for a prolonged trade war, with strategies in place to mitigate its impact. Beijing appears confident in its ability to weather the storm and emerge from the conflict with its economy intact, relying on its robust manufacturing sector and domestic market. This resolute stance, however, raises concerns about the potential for a stalemate, with neither side willing to back down, potentially leading to prolonged economic uncertainty. The escalating trade tensions between the US and China sent shockwaves through global markets, creating a ripple effect that was felt across continents. US stock indices tumbled, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average falling by 0.84%, a significant drop that caught many investors off guard. The S&P 500 also saw a sharp decline, dropping 1.57%, reflecting widespread concern among market participants. The tech-heavy Nasdaq experienced the most significant decline at 2.15%, highlighting the vulnerability of the technology sector in times of economic uncertainty. This sell-off reflects growing investor anxiety about the potential for the trade war to escalate further and damage the global economy, leading to a more prolonged period of market instability. The impact extended far beyond Wall Street, with Asian markets also feeling the tremors, as investors in the region reacted to the escalating tensions. Japan's Nikkei 225 plummeted by 3%, a stark reminder of how interconnected the global financial system has become. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index mirrored that decline, underscoring the widespread impact of the trade tensions. South Korea's Kospi and Australia's ASX 200 each shed 1%, further illustrating the global reach of the market turmoil. These figures underscore the interconnectedness of the global economy and demonstrate how quickly uncertainty in one region can reverberate across financial markets worldwide, causing widespread concern. Adding to the economic anxieties, U.S. mortgage rates surged to 6.85%, marking a one-month high and adding pressure on the housing market. This increase reflects the market's anticipation of further economic instability and its potential impact on interest rates, which could have far-reaching consequences. Rising mortgage rates could dampen home sales and potentially slow down the U.S. housing market, a key driver of economic growth, leading to broader economic repercussions. These market reactions underscore the high stakes of the U.S.-China trade war, which has far-reaching implications for global trade and economic stability. What began as a bilateral dispute now threatens to destabilize the global economy, affecting countries and markets far removed from the initial conflict. The interconnectedness of markets means that the consequences of this trade war are felt far beyond the borders of the US and China, impacting economies and investors worldwide. President Trump has consistently maintained that the tariffs are essential to his America First agenda. He argues that these measures are crucial for protecting American jobs, reducing the trade deficit with China, and bringing manufacturing back to US shores. The administration projects that the new tariffs will generate $2 billion per day in revenue, although this figure is disputed by many economists. Despite the aggressive approach, there are indications that the U.S. is open to dialogue. Administration officials have confirmed that over 70 governments have reached out to discuss the trade situation. Preliminary talks are reportedly scheduled with Japan, South Korea, and other key trading partners. These discussions suggest a willingness to explore alternative solutions and potentially mitigate the economic fallout from the trade war. Adding to the mixed signals, President Trump has expressed a willingness to negotiate directly with China. This statement offers a glimmer of hope for a diplomatic resolution to the trade war. However, the president also emphasized that any deal must be favorable to the United States. This precondition sets a high bar for negotiations and raises questions about the likelihood of a swift resolution. The U.S. appears to be pursuing a two-pronged strategy, applying maximum pressure through tariffs, while simultaneously exploring alternative trade arrangements and leaving the door open for negotiations with China. However, the success of this approach hinges on navigating complex geopolitical considerations and striking a delicate balance between economic interests and political ambitions. As tensions rise, the international community begins to take sides. Some nations rally in support, while others condemn the actions, calling for immediate de-escalation. Alliances are tested, and new partnerships are formed in the wake of the unfolding crisis. The global stage is set for a complex diplomatic dance. Within the affected regions, voices of dissent grow louder. Citizens question the decisions of their leaders and uncertainty looms large. Protests erupt, demanding transparency and accountability. Amidst the chaos, some find hope in the possibility of change, while others fear the unknown future that lies ahead. This isn't the first time tensions have reached a boiling point. Historically, similar situations have led to a cycle of escalation and retaliation. Each event builds upon past grievances, creating a complex web of conflict. Understanding this history is crucial to navigating the current crisis and seeking a path to resolution. The future remains uncertain, and the road ahead is unpredictable. With so many variables at play, the outcome is anyone's guess. Leaders and citizens alike brace for what comes next, knowing that the decisions made today will shape the world of tomorrow. The only certainty is that the journey will be fraught with challenges and opportunities alike.